Hi, my name is Matt Rosenberg. What you're about to watch is part one of a roundtable interview conducted with longtime EastLine patrons Betty and Frank Philipp and Larry Meneses. We sat down on November 17th to talk about what EastLine means to them. Enjoy!
All right, so let's get this started here. Let's start with Betty and Frank. Why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us when you first came to Eastline and where you live?
Hi, I'm Betty, and we live in Wantaw. And we both first came to Eastline, I think it was 2016 in November. And our first production was Incident at Vichy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you find us?
Well, it's funny you should ask because I would always look in the town paper every week for Pet of the Week. And I was looking for I really, this is true. These little poodles with dresses on, Peppy, Daddy's little girl. And I really have a lot of fun doing that. And I was looking for that and I saw that there was a production of Incident of Vichy. And I looked and I said, this is in Wantaw. Where in Wantaw could this be? I don't know of any theater in the area. And we got the address. I went online to see how to get there, and I couldn't get the directions because it was too close. We just don't usually walk past Wantor Avenue, and we live walking distance from the theater. So we went, and that was our first production.
I remember, I think Danny and I were working in the theater at the time when you guys first walked in. You guys walked in right off the street and just were like, what is this play? And just wanted all the information. I remember that very well.
Yeah.
And now below you, Larry Meneses. Larry, tell us where you live and when you first joined us at East.
Hi. So I live in Hopog, and I too think it was Incident at Vichy. That might have been the first show that I saw. My drama teacher from high school, Barry H. Kaplan, was in that production, and I'm not sure if that was his first production or a second production.
It was his. It was his first. I know. Yes, it was his first. Actually,
Yeah. I guess our high school group has a Facebook page, OHS Theater of the 70s. So I believe I saw something posted there, and the idea of being able to see my drama coach at this point in my life was very exciting. So I made sure that I went to see that show, and I was so moved by the congeniality of the theater group, the actual the whole concept of putting together that type of quality of show in a black box setting. Just really, I became an instant supporter, and it wasn't shortly before I joined as a member, and I tried to be at every show. At least for those 2 seasons that followed, I tried to hit every show.
Betty and Frank, why did you come back after that after Vichy, which apparently was the show to come see in that summer? It was the show.
I had never really been in a black box theater before. And I never saw a play until I was like 45, until I met Betty. And she's a theater major and all that. And so we went seeing theater all over the place. But I was amazed that, you walk in there and it's it's a very small space.
Yeah.
With the chairs around, and I'm thinking, how can they do a full scale play in such a small place? I was blown away by that. That's one of the best memories I have of the EastLine. That was such a poignant play, and the actors were so good, and you forget about the small space, and it's just it takes off. It comes to life. You're there.
Yeah,
that one, I thought we got you got the playbill that has the shows coming up. I said, yeah, go back here, and we call that the Wantaw Theater District. Because we could just walk 3 blocks over, and we were there. For us, it was very convenient. But no matter where you guys were, I was going to come back and see it.
Yeah. So let's talk about favorites. Let's talk about you guys have both been around with us since 2016. So that's 20-ish shows have graced that stage and 20-ish casts. So talk about some of your favorite moments, your favorite shows, and Betty and Frank, will start with you on this one.
I think it's hard to find a favorite, but there are 2 shows that we actually went back and saw twice. And One was Laughter on the 23rd Floor. I couldn't believe how funny that production was. And when we went back to see it the second time, this is when you know comedy is really great, is you know every joke that's going to come and every shtick, and it's still just as funny. And I couldn't believe how great that cast was because every single one of them had such great comedic acting skills. And it was just great seeing it twice. If it hadn't been the last weekend, maybe we would have seen it a third time. I loved it. And the other one that we saw twice was Prospero. That was so good with that original music by John Browdigan and Danny's writing. It's really a delightful take on The Tempest. And I was glad to get to see that a second time.
Yeah. Larry, how about you?
Without a doubt, Prospero Live was just absolutely brilliant. I could not believe that you were able to put so much production into that space. And I literally was blown away by that performance, the energy, the excitement of it. I talked it up with a lot of my friends. I'm trying to remember how I tried to describe it to them. I think I described it as it's like Fats Waller meets William Shakespeare, and it was just the whole melding of all the different media of art. It was just a brilliant show. For me, it was probably one of the best things I've ever seen. So that was like pure joy to see that, pure joy. And as far as the power of theater, really allowing the theater experience to affect you at a viscerally, emotionally taut level, the show on Columbine was just.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
easy.
oh yeah.
I can't remember the exact scene, but the scene in which all the actors were breaking up into their own world and you were getting glimpses into their thoughts, that was just so moving and so wrenching and so painful to observe that it really gave me a great insight into that terrible chapter, that tragic chapter in American history. So, from the light and sublime to the extremely depths of feelings, that's and it's so unfair because this is what I expect from EastLine. You've raised the bar so high for yourselves that this is what I expect, and you guys deliver.